I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities and Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. We have been, the last couple album reviews anyways, talking about albums from the past few months that have come out that we didn't review right when they came out, because there have been so many albums in 2013 that have come out that have been of high quality that we want to share with you guys. Inevitably, there's going to be some albums that we think are good that we just don't really feel like are worth the review at that time that we could come back and pick up later. However, there are some of those albums that definitely worth us getting to now, because we're in kind of a lull before the rest of 2013. There's some major releases coming up, so we're just taking a week to kind of get those albums that we feel obligated, that deserve a review, to get those out for you guys so you can know our opinions on it. This album, Palms. Tom, who is Palms? This is their self-titled debut record that came out a few months ago. Who are they? Where do they come from?
Well, Palms is somewhat of a rock supergroup, featuring ex-members of the post-metal band Isis, kind of the core of the instrumentation behind Isis, and then Chino Moreno of Deftones.
Oh, yeah, we don't like Deftones.
Oh God. But so that's what really got me interested in this album, because I'm thinking, well, there's a couple of groups I like. Deftones I obviously love. I would go as far to say that Chino is probably my favorite rock vocalist.
Oh,
and now keep in mind, that's not...
mine's Paul McCartney, but whatever you want. Whatever you want.
I'm not saying he's the best. I'm saying he's my favorite. His range and variety that he can incorporate into his performance caters exactly to my taste.
Still like mine better.
So, I would expect you to. I ain't trying to convince you.
Okay.
God. Anyway.
Sorry.
So it was interesting going into this album, putting on Palms self-titled for the first time, because the first thing I see is that it's only 6 tracks.
Yeah.
Longer track lengths, what I would expect from a post-rock or post-metal outfit, but I'm wondering, how is Chino's vocals going to play into that? Because Deftones, while they are somewhat of a metal band, whether you want to call them hard rock, new metal, they definitely have a lot of metal elements in their sound. They've always geared towards more concise track lengths.
Yes.
They don't expand their tracks much past like 5 minutes until like their last album, Koi no Yokan. They had a couple of kind of 6-7 minute range tracks that evolved a lot more.
These are definitely way longer and more
way different,
experimental in nature. Just the guitars and how how the songs are structured, I just feel like is so far different and beyond what Deftones normally does. Deftones, well, don't get me wrong, Deftones can experiment.
Yeah.
Isis has traditionally been much more on the experimental nature. I mean, that's I think it part and parcel with any sort of post-rock or post-metal outfit, and that definitely didn't go away here. It's just now you have Chino Moreno's added touch on the vocals. I think that's a completely different direction.
Yeah, it really is, and you can tell in a lot of places here that he's trying to use a lot of the same methods and techniques that has made Deftones and his previous work so notable. But the thing is that here it's in a completely different context.
Absolutely.
It's with different musicians, and I think sometimes it really works and sometimes it doesn't.
That's a great point.
Because you can tell he's going for those kind of catchy, memorable hooks at times, the melodies that kind of soar over and everything. Now I will note that this album never really gets quite as heavy as the heaviest aspects of Isis or Deftones. They keep it a little bit more atmospheric. I wouldn't even necessarily say laid back, because there is a lot of tension driving these tracks.
It has a dreamy moodiness to it.
Yes, definitely. That's a good way to put it. But I think that just sometimes the aspects of the music between the instrumentals and Chino as the vocalist, sometimes they blend better than others. Sometimes you can really tell that the instrumentals were just kind of set up and Chino just slapped his vocals right on top of it. And to me, that's a little disappointing. It still makes for an enjoyable listen because of how talented all of these guys are, but it just seems a little bit unplanned and not as deliberate as it could be.
I agree, and I think that you can tell that first and foremost whenever Chino is trying to just belt something out in his just, iconic rock vocals that you described earlier. Like whenever he's trying to belt out that memorable vocal part that sticks with you at the climax of the song and the loud parts, that's where I feel like it sounds the most awkward, because I don't feel like the instrumentation is ever at that 11 point, and his vocals are at 11. Now, he never does his shrieks, though. He never screams, so I appreciate that I think Chino actually did his very best to try to fit his vocals to the music, except you can tell that it's a little bit disjointed. The other thing I wanted to compliment Chino on is the fact that when it gets quiet, and there's a lot more usage of dynamics in these longer track lengths where you have parts of the song with within the track, but also within the album and the different songs within the album that go up in loudness and then get quieter and then go back up just depending on where we're at in the song structure. Chino does a great job in the quiet parts of actually toning his vocals down. You can tell it's a little awkward for him, but I feel like he handles it very well.
Or just even taking a step back and not singing at all.
Yeah.
And I would actually go as far to say that the last track, Antarctic Handshake, is one of the best examples of that. Oddly enough, neither of us actually picked it as a track pick because I don't think it's actually in the grand scheme of that song, I don't think it's one of the more memorable moments. But when I really think about what Chino's doing, he really only sings in the first half of the song.
Right.
And he's taking a step back a little bit and letting it be a little more freeform on top of the instrumentals. And then the last half of the song, he just lets the instrumentals take it away in their kind of classic style. So I think that he's really trying to figure out his place in this band and figure out when he can take the limelight and when he should leave it to the instrumentals. I just don't think they had it perfected here, and what I'd really like to see is a little bit more interplay in the writing. Make it apparent when the instrumentals are supposed to take center stage and when the vocals are. Now, notoriously, even Deftones write music that way sometimes. They've had some work in the past, a decent amount of it actually, where the band will just write the instrumentals and record them, and they don't even know what Chino's going to do. But it works a little bit better there.
Yeah, I think you got to do whatever works for that band, and whatever they were doing here, whatever Palms was doing, did not mesh nearly as well. They have to come up with a different method. I mean, because I think it's clearly evident that at times the vocals sound a little bit off with the instrumentation. You can tell, though, that the instrumentation is great, that these guys have played together before, that they know what they're doing. And that almost is kind of that synergy just isn't there between the instrumentation and the vocals. I feel like over time that will get better, and especially if they incorporate each other in the writing process, whether it's vocal parts or the instrumentation parts, it will get better going forward. This is a promising debut.
It really is.
I'm really excited to see where Palms goes from here. I hope that this collaboration keeps up.
I hope so too, because I think once they just really get that chemistry between every element of the music, I think they could really make some powerful stuff. I think it's a cool new format for Chino and a new place to display his abilities. They just got to bring it together a little more. But I'll tell you what, if you're a fan of either of the bands that Palms comes from, or you're just a fan of post-rock or post-metal in general, that kind of atmospheric, longer track length setup,
vocals with it.
Yeah, then check this out, because I think you'll enjoy it.
Absolutely. Tom, we sound pretty similar on this album. Where are you going?
I'm going 76.
I'm going to be the wiener, 75.
You are the wiener, my friend.
I'm the wiener. What did you guys think of Palms' debut? Are you big Isis fans? Are you big Deftones fans? If you are, if you listen to this, which I would highly recommend it, you guys probably are taken aback by the difference in sound, because it is kind of a fun experience getting to dissect it a little bit. We're really interested in your thoughts. Please leave us a comment at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and let us know what albums from 2013 you'd like to see us review. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.